we had a crazy experience with an influencer today.
Yeah.
At what was the?
Oh, that was weird.
Yeah, this family. Can I tell a story?
Go for it. Yeah.
All right, this family turned up. I didn't realize they were kind of extracurricular to the whole situation. I thought they were friends.
Rolled up in a car outside the pub.
They rolled up in an SUV with tinted windows, rolled down the windows. They start playing some music. There's a dog there
Where
as
were
well.
you for this?
What's that?
Where were you?
Evelyn.
Okay. Yeah.
Evelyn Hotel.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're dancing and stuff. And I thought, oh, they must be friends with everyone. And then the girl comes over and her dad's there filming her. And she's like, hey, guys, can you dance for us for my reels?
To you guys.
Yeah, to us. And she was like, please. And I was like, what is happening? And her dad's like right there like, filming her.
You guys do it?
Counting her down.
No, but Crispy
No,
instantly hit her with
Crispy was so rude. He was like, how many followers do you have?
Is that how you're going to base the decision? Like,
I think you just...
There's no
think
way
you're
you're
just-
dancing.
I was just making the call of whether or not they were legit. I think was
Yeah.
the thing. I was like, that was pretty weird. They were turning up in a big like cop car with a dog on the inside, like canine vibes.
and it was a mother-daughter. A
It was
father-daughter.
a father-daughter
duo.
situation.
He was like
Yeah.
counting her and he'd be like 3, 2, 1, and then like try and get a shot of her dancing next to this crowd of people and have
Yeah.
them be like somewhat amicable and like I think her goal was just to dance with people around her that didn't look like they didn't want her to be there.
This sounds like Crispy's Joker moment.
But we were at the Ev and it was like 4:30, coming on 5 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon, like the hottest day of the week kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And it was scorching and the place was packed.
Scorch.
And so it was just, she was definitely just there to get a bar full of people behind her while she filmed some kind of real thing.
Yeah.
It was, I was a bit like not in on it. I was not.
But like she was, I guess the best part is she's straight up. She said exactly. I'm like, I'm here making reels.
Yeah.
Like either you're a part of it or I'm not. I'm gonna go walk
Do you know
over to
what's
that.
kind of interesting about that is she didn't say TikTok. Like it's kind of like
I know, like she's out here making YouTube shorts, man. She's making Facebook stories. Like
I mean, good on her committing to the poor brother. But
Yeah.
not many people are doing it.
I don't know.
Well, I want to say a huge welcome before we jump fully into it. Because I'm doing this for the first time, managing the cameras and the audio, can I just check, Clark, is the audio recording?
The audio is recording.
Amazing.
Nice.
Perfect. All right. We're off to an amazing start. Before we go any further, I might get you guys to just go around the room and just say your name and what instrument you play in darts.
Crispy, I'm on the guitars.
My name is Rollies. I play the drums.
Kia ora, I'm Dan. I do the vocals.
My name's Clark Matthews. I play the bass guitar.
Love it.
My name's Clark Matthews, and I play the bass guitar.
Yeah, you can get right in there.
getting in
yeah.
there.
Have you got your headphones on, man?
I've got no headphones.
What's
I
going
don't
on?
have the headphones.
And if you can try to, these mics are a little, you need to almost be touching them with your mouth if you can do that whenever you're chatting.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, man. Is this the original lineup of the band? How did you guys meet?
So in 2019, a good friend of mine, Jake Love,
Yeah.
who I think you may know, his brother Slav is
Oh, yeah.
So the Chats were coming over for their first ever New Zealand tour, and they but on Slav's I guess recommendation, Jake Love's band, Sean's Birthday, got the opening slot in Auckland.
My band has played with them.
I think you guys have. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that kind of close community thing.
Awesome.
And so I, on a goof, was like, okay, well, if these guys, which I love Jake and I love Sean's Birthday, can get the opening slot for this kind of band,
Yeah.
I might email the Chats with a fake band and see if I can get an opening slot. And if they say yes, then I will create that band.
Amazing.
And so I was like, okay, what does a band called the Chats want to hear as their opening band? So I was like, okay, it has to be that like kind of 5-letter band name that kind of resonates with Aussie, resonates with the kind of bogan culture.
Yeah.
And so I thought DARTZ.
Nice.
So
it was going to be darts or snags.
Yeah.
Snags was other.
Yeah. So I emailed and I said I went with DARTZ. Yeah, and
You missed out on the vote that happened before you came.
Before you. I'm trying to tell the story here, Rollies. So I go with DARTZ. I was in a previous band and we had like a good like kind of punk pub song. So I was like, okay, I'll use that. I'll put that song in as this is a song of ours.
Yeah.
And
Was that song anything like what you've become?
no, but there was a line in that song that I stole that kind of became DARTZ's signature song. So I emailed, we had from Jake, we had the email for the chats management. I emailed them saying, I'm in a band called DARTZ. We kind of knew, but we're pretty well known in the Wellington scene. Not true.
We'll get to it, but I never met.
Yeah,
we'll get there,
Rollies. Yeah, we'll get to you. Don't worry. And I say, I sent in the song. I said, this is what we sound like. Can we have the slot? Thinking there's not a chance in hell.
Yeah.
And I'm at work, and Chrissy works like in a cubicle across from me. I sent this email in, and then I think the next day, or even the same day, I got a reply, and they said, "Yep, we're keen to have you. We got another band on, but we'll have you guys as the first act."
Oh, that's so good.
The show's in 2 months.
Yeah.
No, way less than 2 months, man.
Was it?
2.5 weeks or something.
Okay, 2.5.
Whoa.
The show's in 2.5 weeks. We'll see you there, essentially. And so I was like, okay, that was hilarious, but now I have to create a band, and write a 25-minute, 30-minute set, and find the rest of the band. So I look at Crispy, and me and Crispy were in a previous band together, and he played drums.
And were you workmates, did you say?
Yeah, we're workmates as well.
And you live together.
What sort of...
And we lived
And
together.
they lived together.
We just moved to Wellington.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so I said to Crispy, he's like, "You want Ewan?" And he said, "Yep." He's like, "But
Yep.
one condition." And what was the condition?
That I wanted to play guitar this time.
Yeah. So
I really wanted to learn how to play guitar because I'd only played
what was
drums.
your previous experience on guitar?
I knew how to play like one Offspring song.
Which one?
Hardening questions.
What are the good ones?
Pretty Fly for a Walk.
Yeah, I learned how to play that song. Yeah.
And so I said, "Oh, cool. We need a drummer." But Crispy was also working at he had previously worked at a local kind of takeaway food establishment called Baobab, and he was a dishy for the chef, and the chef was
Yo,
Rollies.
What's up?
Rollies is a very, and this is where it got a bit like risky because Rollies was like well known in like a more like artsy kind of indie scene.
Okay.
And then we kind of were like, "Hey man, we kind of gagged our way onto this band. We have 2.5 weeks to write a set. Do you want to join?"
It was so sold to me, like undersold. It was just like, Crispy was like, "Do you want to play in a punk band called DARTZ?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." I had no clue
So it
what
sounds
was
like he
going
didn't
on.
even. It sounds like he didn't mention the gig.
Maybe. I don't know. I was pretty loose. I was pretty loose. I don't know if you did mention it or not.
I think no.
I think originally it was just, "Do you want to play in a band?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Fuck yeah." And I was at that point when I was just like, I was saying yes to
Any
every
band, yeah.
gig and
Awesome,
everything. I was doing
That's the thing with Wellington is
it
like
all, and
there's
it was-
like a handful of drummers, and those handful of drummers are in like 5 bands
Yeah.
each.
Yeah.
And then we got Clark Matthews, who was kind of well known
I was
around the
kind
scene.
of adversarial to you at the time. I remember. I remember we looked up the receipts. We went through the group chat and like we knew each other. But I remember like a couple of weeks before that, I was threatening to start a rival band to you guys. That didn't happen. I ended up joining your band instead. But
Did you just know each other from the Wellington music scene, or
yes, well, we'd been kind of in and out of hanging out with each other for a bit. I'd
just moved.
I'd tried to move into your flat the
Yeah.
previous year at 40 Redford Street, and came down for a day, and then decided it was not for me.
yeah?
But speaking of 40 Rifford Street, we got Clark in the band through
Yes.
circumstances.
But yeah, I would say what was real interesting is that I think the first time that me and Rollies met, that our cinematic universes collided, was when you two brought us together for the first like band practice.
The first
Yeah.
band practice, yeah. We all
And, like,
met
we've
at
gotta write
probably
the songs, the gigs
met at
Yeah.
Ickham,
coming up soon.
But
got
yeah.
like a shake and a burger, and I was pretty nervous Nally because I'm like, I don't know, I didn't know you guys.
yeah.
You always sit out the back of Baobab when I worked there, and you still smoking cigarettes and like hanging out and being cool and stuff. I'm like, who are these guys?
But it was kind of like love at first sight. Clark had a pretty like little stack of like riffs made up.
Cool.
I had
Were
like
they,
yeah.
Clark, were they riffs you were planning to use to be his adversary?
Yeah, they were. They were all going to be for another band that I was going to start in the same genre.
Get right up close to that mic.
I might still start that band at some point. It was going to be called Golf Uncle. It was going to be really good.
Cool band name.
It was simultaneous. It was a good band name. It was a bit of a Art Garfunkel gag in a way.
Yeah.
But anyway, he bought some riffs. And then we're like, I think the greatest thing and the greatest testament to DARTZ's success, and probably to this day, is the pressure. So when you're like, you've got the 2 weeks to make you've got 2 weeks to write essentially what 7 songs
Seven
for
songs.
a 30-minute set. There was no time to overthink anything, and so he didn't overthink riffs. I wrote the lyrics. I didn't have time to overthink lyrics, and these guys just didn't really have time to oversimplify anything else.
Yeah,
And
I never
so-
really played punk or
True.
stuff in that. I played lots of metal. I grew up like playing metal.
Yeah.
And then with these guys, I was like, yeah, it's all going to be D beat. Like it's all going to be like 24/7, and I'm not that.
No.
But super fun, and
Awesome.
And so you
these
just got
guys,
to be legit.
Clark wrote pretty much all of those riffs, if not all of the riffs from that first set. Dan wrote a lot of the lyrics. Dan had a couple,
A couple of riffs as well.
and then slapped some drums on it.
And so the gig came around,
Uh-oh.
and then
Gulp.
we did the sound check, and it was terrible. Like the sound check was bad. Like you could just tell by the faces of like the bar staff and the sound guy that they were like, "Oh, this is not good."
It was terrifying. It was absolutely
We
terrifying.
were already nervous because of the circumstances of how this all came, and
Did
like
you
I
have
said,
all the lyrics in your head, or was there notes written down?
no,
somewhere?
we had it. We were fairly well put together, but it was
Well,
the
I was
sense.
pretty sus playing guitar for the first
Yeah, but
time
also
ever.
I think
on a stage. And also the thing is we knew that the gig was sold out. It was like as far as Wellington venues go for that kind of genre, that was as big as it got.
And
Like,
I
it
think
was a
we had
300,
practiced
400
we had
audience
practiced in a
sold
room as
out.
well. But when you stand on the stage and you play, it's a
Yeah, bro.
completely
Man,
different.
when you play like
Yeah.
shit and loud, oh man, you can really have
Yeah.
you can
and there's
really hear
and
how
there's like
shit it is.
4 people in the room,
Nowhere to
and
hide.
everyone's hearing what you're saying. And
You-
so I remember
you keep going.
we unpacked and we packed into Crispy's mum van that he inherited.
That we still
And we sat in that van and we are like, this is going to be so embarrassing. This is sold out. But because Crispy and I are from Auckland, and Auckland, like, no one ever comes up for the first opening band. So we're like, look, on the bright side, we're going to play to like maybe 20 people.
No one will see us.
This will
No,
blow
yeah,
over.
it'll be
This will be
fine.
fucking fine. Let's go back to our house and get drunk. So
Yeah.
we grab a slab, we go back to our wharanui, we have a bunch of beers, and we turn up and we walk in the door at the gig, and it's packed.
Yeah.
Everyone in Wellington that were going to the chats had turned up for the first band
Wow.
called DARTZ, and we had some fake merch as well that we like heat pressed onto some cheap fuck all shirts.
$10 warehouse shirts.
Those sold out based off, I think, the fact that maybe they thought that it was DARTZ merch because it had the word DARTZ.
No
on
one
it.
had ever seen the
Chats
name
merch, 'cause,
or
yeah, they thought it was
heard us
Chats
play a
merch.
single song, and we sold
Yeah.
all of our shirts before we played a single note.
And so we walked,
Damn!
and so essentially it was a sold out show. Everyone was there on time. The room was packed, and it was time for DARTZ to go on. And we were shitting. It's pretty safe to say we were shitting bricks. We go on stage, and I think, I don't know if it was the alcohol or the adrenaline of knowing that this might make us like social pariahs. That if we do the show, but we fucking pulled it off.
Hell yeah.
We just went nuts. I was jumping around. Rollies killed it. Crispy's learnt guitar.
You had a crowd surf, right?
Yeah, crowd
it was just
surfed.
like a crazy first show, but like
And then like afterwards, everyone like, oh, like, and everyone just, because we didn't exist in Wellington, everyone assumed that we were around, but they just somehow never heard of us.
Yeah.
And so afterwards, we had like a shitty Instagram page, and we went from like no followers to like I think 500. And then like suddenly people were like, when are you playing next? Have you got an album out? And like that's when we screwed it up. So we just started playing gigs everywhere, and then we recorded a shit out EP, and then
Our second gig, we was running so high off the first show. We were running like so high off that first show,
Yeah.
which was on a Friday night, that the next Monday night, we were like,
Played an
fuck
open
yes,
mic night.
let's go play an open mic night.
Yo!
And we were like,
confidence.
it's our second gig. Everyone get down.
Is this Moon Bar in Newtown?
Yeah.
Fuck, because I think I was like, guys, I go here for jam night every Tuesday. I live around the corner, man. It's sick. And then, like, because I'm from the middle of nowhere. I don't know. I was like, to me, I was like,
So the,
damn, this
the
is
downside of that instant success and it kind of paying off
Yeah.
is we instantly made some terrible decisions as a
Okay.
band.
Hell
'Cause
yeah.
We weren't prepared to be a band. We're like,
Yeah.
this is gonna, the shit's about to hit the fan. We're about to embarrass ourselves. And then we kind of suddenly got an audience and an opportunity to actually be a band, make pals in Wellington, the city we just moved to. And then
how
we
were
kind of
chats
dropped the ball.
at the gig. How were the chats towards you? I've had Amon on this show, and
He
he's a legend. He's a lovely
he
dude.
loved us.
Awesome.
We've played with him
We
since.
sussed them out that night
Yeah.
as well.
Well, we also, because it went so well, we got real drunk and maybe a little overconfident. We like hit him up and like, dude, you got to get us for your fucking Auckland show.
They-
That's what I did at least.
Well, it was chill. We had a bit of a yarn
Yeah.
afterwards, but the beginning of the interaction was them, like, we'd hit them up on Instagram prior to the show, being like, we're opening, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Say
want
hi,
some?
this is who we are. And they asked us if we could suss weed.
Oh yeah, we got them weed as well.
Yeah, we sussed them weed. So that was great. But, like, it was literally, like, an absolutely transactional situation of, like, we are opening for you. Here is the weed that you asked for. Blah, 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 blah. But
And
then,
we also got to play to like 400 people.
yeah, and it, but oh, and it
For our
was
first
like
show.
just the most weird fucking thing. And then like after that and going forward has just been like they've just been the chillest people, and we played with them like 3 or 4,
Yeah.
5 times since.
They're very supportive of DARTZ.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very, like, they're somehow, like, the most rude and polite people, you know. Like, they'll be super nice to you, and you
They
chill out
really
in the
don't give
hotel.
a shit about
and then they're
music.
like, yeah, I'll put the microwave in the dishwasher. And they're like, yeah, we do that every Airbnb we go to, man. I'm like, you guys are great. I fucking love you guys.
Is that that's their departure gift to?
Well, that was it.
hotels?
Well, we found that out in Dunedin. We don't know how long standing that bit was, but it was
Yeah.
pretty fucking good, and it was pretty impressive
Yeah.
watching them, and they had a very good yarn about like, well, if someone comes in to check the room and there's no microwave, they're going to be pretty sus. But we didn't steal it; we just put it in the dishwasher.
Yeah.
It was a good bit. It was a very good bit. But
Some,
yeah,
like,
they're
ups and downs for
they're
the cleaner.
fucking good vibes, people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They've shared
It
like
was just
tour
such a, it
places.
was just
Yeah.
such a funny situation to meet them in. Of like, we knew that we'd completely bullshit our way into it.
Yeah.
I still don't know if
And-
Eamon and the rest of them are fully aware that we kind of gagged that.
Maybe not.
But I'm pretty sure if he found out, he would think it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
too.
so,
It's kind of too late now because you came in with here's the type of band we are, and you've become that band since doing that.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
We've
not-
kind of grown, but like it was, and then we kind of had to like shake off the like New Zealand chats label.
It's
for a
identity
little bit.
crisis, you know?
Oh, really?
Wink.
Who was saying that?
Says
Was
one of
it
the songs.
internet or real life?
I think there's a bit local. Well, this is a classic thing where everyone gets a little bit like jealous of the success, but like there was
yeah.
like and then like you get because of the origin story, you kind of be like,
Yeah.
yeah, but it was fine. But I think we've evolved a lot since then. But it was early stages. It was, and because there's that classic, interview question of like, what is your genre? And you're like, oh god, and like, well, what do you sound like? And like,
Name one band who's playing right now who you've played
yeah,
with.
yeah,
who you sound
exactly,
like.
yeah.
Ski rock.
I think we've changed genre every time someone's asked
Cuddle-
us. This is a
cuddle
gag.
rock.
Yeah. Yeah, good work. Well, I'm impressed. You guys are killing it. You guys are about to play, is it 3 shows in Melbourne and then South by Southwest in Sydney?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
What he said.
huge. What are the venues? I don't. To be honest, I don't know if I'm going to have this episode out in time to promote it, but
Yeah.
give it a go.
We did play.
Yeah. Yeah, go for it.
Absolutely. So
Hey, Clark, how's
On-
the audio? Sorry, bro.
We're all good, brother.
Sweet.
We're fantastic.
Awesome.
I'm the DJ Lethal of this podcast.
scratch me up.
Fantastic.
Scratch me up.
We were playing, Christy.
We're playing it Thursday night. Well, we did play. We played on Thursday, 12th of October at Nighthawks.
Yep.
And we played on the 14th at Shot Kickers,
Cool.
a little afternoon show.
Nice.
Chris there put us on a gig, which was very cool.
Yep.
Got a bunch of local acts. And then on Sunday night at Last Chance Bar as well, which we love. Last
Yeah.
time we were in Melbourne, we played there as well, which was super good vibes and
Very
just
hospitable.
fun people.
Yep.
Was
Best people.
kind of channeling from afar, watching them with the totes situation,
Yeah.
and was very, very pleased to see that come through. So that was super cool,
Awesome.
and stoked to be just being a part of that venue vibe and hanging out
Yeah.
and
Oh,
being
cool.
involved with those people.
Yep.
So yeah, those are our gigs in Melbourne, and then South by Southwest next week. We've got a show on the Thursday and 2 shows on the Friday, but people
Yeah.
got to be there to be there. You know, whatever that becomes, it becomes.
Love that.
Yeah, passing out business cards and shaking hands and sleazing it up.
Nice one. Do you guys feel like, because it sounds like you and Crispy have been in your waking hours in each other's 90% of each other's waking hours for quite a while now. Has your friendship changed as a result?
I think it's gotten better, to be honest.
Awesome.
It was, I think early on we kind of we're quite akin. Like when we were in a different band, it was very separate. Like it was 4 people that we did that was complete strangers. Like I started the band out by like a little Facebook post at a university thing, but Crispy and I went out at night and we did a couple like social things.
Yep.
And then we like moved into a flat together, and like those things kind of grow. So it's like they kind of like university experience thing, and then it's kind of turned into like adult friendship. And
Yeah.
now like with DARTZ, it's one. I think the great thing about DARTZ is it's a great way to maintain 3 friendships that I care about very much. So I love these 3 boys, and like, you know, when you grow older, especially as men, like there's what excuses do you guys have to hang out? What is the reason for you guys to maintain and grow and keep those friendships as fresh as they possibly can be?
Yeah.
I think, especially with Crispy as well, like that's what I've known him since I was 19, and he was maybe just about to turn like 18.
Yeah.
So it's that classic thing of like finding that thing that keeps you guys connected and why you do it. Now we've traveled. Obviously, we're over here in Australia and that's the only time we've ever traveled overseas has been with this band.
Yeah.
We've traversed Aotearoa so many times to the cracks of that country in weird small towns with stories that you're never gonna forget. Like if one of us get married, you're gonna like stand up and be like, "Oh, I remember that time we were in Chicago and you drove and nearly broke our car, or you caught our Toyota Corolla on fire." Like those kind of stories that are just gonna stay with you forever.
Yeah.
I think that's the magical thing about being in the band is like you just not only like it's fun, you get to meet people and you get to go to these communities and have these stories and organically get to travel in a great way. But like you're just there with these guys you care so much about, and we're pretty close, and you have to be.
Yeah.
When you're in a band, there's no time for drama, there's no time for like anger. You just lay your cards out. Like we sass each other all the time. He sassed me so many times. I complained about walking after I made a big mistake of walking today. But it's like kind of thing like you could like if it was any other band where you're just like colleagues, you could easily hold on to those things and be like,
Yeah.
fuck him, man. Like he's that little sassy little bitch. But like your mates, like it doesn't matter. You're brothers at that point.
It's confronting. It's good.
Yeah.
I think,
It's so healthy. Like I would generally be concerned about being in a band where it's a colleague situation or like one person's like that's clearly like this person's here, and then the other band members around them are like either session musicians or like to push that one person's career.
Yeah.
Like it's 4 guys who are on the same page. I'm the lead singer, but I'm probably the least important person in this band.
We've just
Like,
been hearts on sleeves since day one. I think is the kind of thing. It's like we slowly met each other. Well, Dan and I have been close for yonks, but we've all like kind of caught up to the same page of like we know each other's shit,
Yeah.
and we know what everyone else sucks at and is good at, and what's funny and what's not funny, and it's just very comfortable hanging out and just taking the piss out of each other.
and we can do side quests
and
pretty
then-
easy as well.
Yeah, and exactly.
Yeah.
It's like we're not stressed out, and whenever we plan something like going overseas, we know that Broly's is going to go on a little side quest for 2 hours this afternoon, and maybe his phone's not online for 30 minutes, but he's going to come through and he'll be here for the podcast. Like that's kind of thing is like we'll freak out for a little bit, and then it'll be like, this is just how it is, and it's fine. But we've like kind of learnt to live with each other in the perfect ways that it's just enjoyable the whole time, and we know what everyone needs to have a good time together. And it's just, I think that's such a huge part of like, it's not just about writing the best songs. Like anyone can write the best songs and go and do anything,
And we have done that.
But it's like exactly. But if you just write the best songs and then you hate the people that you wrote them with, then what are you gonna do? But it's just like we're just
all my travel experience across Aotearoa, New Zealand, Australia, and England next year is going to be with these 4 boys, and there's nothing more exciting about that because you get to share it with them, you get to take photos with them, and it's like. And if I ever have kids in the future and you get to like look back on these things, like, oh my God, like these stories are shared with the people I love.
The
Like,
coolest way to travel, because if you're just traveling, you're just somebody like taking photos on your phone, either on your own or with your girlfriend who you're going to break up with or whatever. But like doing it as a band is such a fun way to connect with the people who live in those cities and connect with other people and locals and have just like a shared moment that not just you can look back on. I reckon something that I have learnt, my band is about to break up. We're breaking up at the end of the year, and I'm like in two minds about it. I'm really proud and stoked with what we've done, but I'm also sentimental about it. But one thing I feel like, and I'm not sure if you guys feel the same, is that it's a lot more like a relationship than what I would have ever thought, where you have to really invest in each other's time and get to know each other. And if anyone starts acting in a like, oh, we're colleagues, or like do this or show up at that time, and you start having these job-like expectations of each other without the friendship being invested in, then it becomes awkward. And so I think it's really important to just make sure that the friendship aspect is prioritized.
I think that's true of any relationship.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think with darts especially, I think because I think the great thing about darts is like not only do we play instruments, we all invest our own time separately with other things. Like I do all the posters and the merch. Crispy's organises this entire Australian tour. He's invested in like following up on emails for people on South by Southwest. Clark does all our social media. He's essentially all the funding we've got from the New Zealand government, which is actually a pretty cool thing that New Zealand does, is through him doing the mahi. Rollies is the best musician. He's runs those practice spaces. Like it's not a turn up and play your instruments thing. It's an investment in terms of time and energy, and then we split everything equally in terms of.
That's the thing. We're not going tit for tat on anything or scoring cards and stuff. I think it's like such a big important thing that from day one as well, we've just been like chilling. The band is 4 people. 4 people put work in on their own time when they can to do whatever they need to do to make it successful, and we're not checking out or checking in and making sure that someone's done this or that, unless it's really important. But it's like it's all just making sure that everyone is contributing when they want to the extent that they can, and having a good time with it as well.
Yeah, we're awesome. That's that. I think that's that bit. Next question.
I was like waiting with bated breath. I could see you wanted the mic, and I was like so excited to come.
Say something very important. I ain't touching that.
It sounds like all you guys have made the band a priority. Like you've really gone, all right, this is what I'm pouring most of my focus and energy in.
Well, it's so incidental though. Like I will say that it's absolutely true for myself for the past probably 6 to 12 months, but it's just because of what I love we're doing. Like these guys are fucking great.
What's the effect that has then on your other relationships? Like, is it tough to, like, have you guys all got partners, and how does that go throughout the touring times?
Yeah, it is. It's a balance for sure. But with my partner, she knows that that's a priority for me, and it's pretty okay. It's manageable.
Okay.
For me, like, the hardest thing is balancing work hours with when the band gets busy, trying to work and make the band shit happen at the same time when it's important all at once kind of thing.
Have you got an understanding boss or manager?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
cool.
Okay,
again, Dan and I, besides living together for like a year or 3 years, also work together we still work together, but we don't live together anymore. But so our boss is pretty chill with us being here at the moment.
I'd say with partners as well, and I'm speaking from being the only single person in the band. But from my experience with dating, I think there's something attractive about being passionate about something and having goals. And I think with DARTZ, it's a very goal-setting band. We've found, and like it's a hard thing about New Zealand is where you can't be too. It's that weird thin line, or like fine line, I guess, of being like, we have seen success. We think there's a genuine success there if we put in the mahi or the work to get it done. And we believe we can do it, and the results that off the effort that Christie's put in, Clark and Rollies and I put in outside of just performing music, like with the marketing, applying for funding, doing merch and posters and organizing practices and adhering to those practices. The results have been like sold out shows, opportunities to play at South by Southwest in Sydney, opening for international bands. Like those things have paid off, and it's like, okay, like there's genuinely a following for darts, and there could be a huge success.
Yeah.
But it's all that, but also been realizing like it has come from actually putting in the work.
Yeah, it's well, like every time that we've done something and seen a result and taken the step further, or stepping back and looking at it and being like, okay, that actually did something for us.
Yeah.
What can we do? Because it's not, obviously no one on our level anyway is in this to fucking crack it and to make money or anything, but it's just like, it's kind of viable to a point, and we really enjoyed doing what we just did, and it's not like we lost out by doing that.
Yeah.
We had a fucking great time, paid for itself at that point. You know, we're slowly getting somewhere, and so it's just doubling down and being like, if, you know, none of us are going to be traveling overseas and having a fucking great time with our best friends if we're not doing this.
I don't know about this with you with your band, but the biggest lesson I've learned from being in darts, and I think maybe the harshest lesson when people ask me like, how do you guys do this and what blah 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 etc., is essentially like, I feel like 40% of it is being a musician and 60% of it is being a business.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. 100% agree. Especially if, like, going back to like the musical skill, and if you listen to our songs, you'd be like, okay, more like 10%, maybe 10% musicianship.
Exactly.
I had another question just on New Zealand. The New Zealand music scene is kind of small, and because of that, when a band gets quite successful, people seem to turn on those bands in a way because of that music community. Have you guys just accepted that and gone, who cares about it? Or does it have moments where you're like, oh, it would be nice if people just said, hey, you guys are killing it and good on you? Like, do you feel any of that? Do you notice it?
It's tricky.
I think for like the thing that I've definitely noticed the most is that like there's like initially when you start out, and this probably is true everywhere, like people don't care, people don't give a fuck.
And they're rooting for you a little
And
bit.
then they're like, oh, maybe there's potential there. But then like at a certain point where people are like, oh, they're working hard, the things are happening, they get on board.
Yeah.
And then pretty soon after that, people are like, okay, these guys can do it on their own now. Like, you know, you're on your own, kid, kind of thing. I feel like in terms of support and stuff like that.
I also think people don't understand that like fraction of the music to business thing. I think people, if you're from the outside looking in at darts, you can be like, oh, these guys are getting handouts. These guys are getting these opportunities by just being goofy jock boys. But like because you don't see the behind the scenes like applications, working hard on merch, like figuring out merch numbers, emailing so constantly to people. Like if you don't see that side and you just think darts have just got this opening slot, darts have just got this opportunity to go overseas, it's so easy to be like, well, they're just doing well because of XYZ.
It's a big part of the genre as well, though. I think being like a punk rock band has always been a very DIY centric thing, and so it's probably global where, you know, the punk bands that blow up they're probably not doing what most punks think punks do.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're hustling. They're fucking hustling. They're not just, you know, telling everyone to get fucked. You know, they're actually doing what they need to do to become successful. You know, as much as that's a weird like camera fucking admission to like, yeah, we send emails to industry people. Like we do. We just want to make this as viable as possible. And if we can send...
It's already not fucking viable.
Exactly. It's not viable in any other way. Like if you want to just be a fucking cunt and not fucking talk to anyone and just play your punk music to the 8 people that turn up to your show, then that is also sick. And I like so many bands that do that. Like that's the coolest thing. But I also would love to tour in Europe.
But darts,
So and it's like, you know, so if sending a few emails is what it's gonna take to do that, then I'm gonna fucking do that. Absolutely. Yeah. So and within New Zealand specifically, it's not about at all poppy syndrome so much, although there is a bit of that. It's just a being at the very fucking edge of the earth kind of thing really takes its toll. Like, there's some good things about New Zealand, and there's some very, very bad things about New Zealand, and most of it's just that there's no money, and it's so removed, and it's blah blah blah, and no one cares. And then for us, on top of that, being in a punk rock genre, which has not ever really been something that someone wants to invest in, because it's so.
And it's a classic thing of like, no one, if you don't listen to the, if you just look at us outside and you're actually putting the time to, which we're thinking with anything in the world, if you don't take the time to invest or listen to what we're doing, from the outset, sure, we might seem like this Ford dude just doing like pop punk rock. And like this, the hard thing about that, like I said, the genre thing is like, we're not punk enough for the punks and we're too punk for the rock kids. So like, we're in this weird middle, and like there's that whole, like, we've had a couple like jock rock comments because we are 4 dudes playing kind of like songs about drinking, but like if you don't listen to songs and the context of the lyrics and the context of what we talk about and what we address, and you just think like these guys just do party rock stuff and all the kids love coming out to get drunk and hang out, like it's always it's with anything right now, I think, in the world. Like, there's, if you don't get the context and you're just taking like a small tidbit of something, you're never going to get the message.
Everyone's out to criticize something, and it's not that I think that we've got like the most integrity based shit going on. Like, it's totally criticizable, that's fine, but it's just as
I'm proud of DARTZ and its success, and like when someone like on Twitter complains and like blah 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 blah, and like over in there, I'm like, well, I'm over in Melbourne hanging out on the podcast, just got drunk, we had some shows, but I got stuff, but and like and it's well learned, and I don't care.
What's the cat's name?
Little Buddy.
Little Buddy.
Yeah, you guys
Hell
are over here
yeah.
with Little Buddy.
So it's
Nice.
it's one of those things where like you can be humble, but I can also be like, you know what, I've worked hard and I'm happy to be here. So
I love it. On the topic of your lyrics, I love your guys' lyrics. They're very fun. It's a nice balance of like very funny, but not just because it's like, hey, I imagined this insane scenario and here's the lyrics. It's like, I'm telling you honestly about a feeling and mentioning a few things that I get the feeling, and I don't know this for sure, but I get the feeling like, oh, that is referential to an actual moment, or that is referential to actually what happened. So whether or not it is real, I get the impression that it is. Am I right in that assumption?
yeah, it's experience. Like,
We're very true to ourselves.
and like I said earlier, like it's also like if with DARTZ starting out, if I had like 3 months to overthink lyrics, that would be shit. I think these guys can speak to that. Is when I don't have the time to think and you just write, it is so much better.
It's all reactional. It's so reactional of like, there's the thing, it's like we were forced to write songs to play our very first gig, and then we hung out and we learnt the songs and we played them, and then we kept hanging out, and then we had experiences together that caused some kind of ruckus or something stupid, and then we wrote a song about it, and it just cycled and continuously cycled.
And we got separated for lockdown. Then out of lockdown, Clark's like, I got a song. He's like, can you write a song about this bath salts epidemic? Yep, let's do that. Oh, this Captain Cook, the statue's getting pulled down. Let's do that. And he's like, but we want to do this in a weekend. We want to record it in a weekend.
Yeah.
Like, can you write this in 2 days? We'll record it, do a music video. And that all happened in a weekend. And then we got another album coming out next year, and it was the same thing. It was like we had maybe half of it, maybe more than half of it written, and then we're like, we need to get more, like 5 songs done. And he's like, yep, we're recording in 2 months. Can we write? But and like, not just the lyrics. Like, can Clark write good enough riffs that I can write to? And like, that's a testament to that.
I'm pretty sure you could name any single one of our songs and associate it to a memory, or it could be an individual experience that one of us has had and shared with each other. Or it could be a group experience,
I
or
feel
an
like the
epiphany.
very shallowest will be like it's still come out of a conversation we've had. and something
Yeah.
like
But it's also
Or
very
a
relevant
joke
for the
or-
4 of us as well. Like, a lot of our songs, like, we mention our names in a lot of songs as well. Like, a lot of the songs are literally quite entrenched in experiences that the 4 of us have had.
Yeah. I love
Like,
it.
Rollies and I are Māori. Like, there's a lot of Māori kind of themes in there. There's also like a lot of drug taking and drinking. Like, is like,
And you didn't really hide from that, did you? You like mention like there's MDMA at least you've mentioned.
Yeah.
That.
It
well,
a
our
few
thing
times.
is like there's so many songs about doing MDMA, but there's like our songs are like our biggest MDMA song is about getting your drugs checked, because in New Zealand we have this thing called Know Your Stuff, where they have stations at festivals and in cities where you can go take your gear to these stations. They don't. There's no police presence. There's no judgment. You go there and they tell you if it is safe to take,
or
if it's
how much of the thing that you think that's
been
in it
cut
is
with
in
something
it.
else.
Yeah.
And they'll
So
still give it to you.
It's the thing of like, look, we know that we're not going to dance around the fact that people drink and do drugs. Like, and we write party songs. Our party songs are usually like, we've got bath salts, which is go get your gear checked. And if you're going out, like, stick together in a group, do some karaoke, have a fucking fun night. And then we got like a song called DMC, which is like doing DMA again. But like the upside of that is like the deep and meaningfuls that the four of us have had. Like, like men struggle to talk.
Yep.
But like the upside of like the four of us drinking and doing drugs sometimes results in us having real heart to hearts and connecting. So it's like, I know these things are inherently maybe not the greatest, but like, look, the upsides to that is get your drugs tested and have a good night.
Yep.
You can't see this, but Crispy is crawling off the couch in the most awkward way I've ever seen in my whole life.
He did fairly well. I thought it was going to go way worse.
It was quiet. Like, I did not hear it, but like, I saw it.
I reckon that guy's definitely done like what's the first level belt of like some kind of martial art?
Oh, judo.
Yeah.
White belt?
It's like a brown belt.
No, brown belt's before black belt, man.
Wait, okay.
Brown belt's like almost
what,
black belt.
White belt?
White belt is the first belt. White, yellow, blue, orange, purple, brown, black.
All right. Well, I think Crispy's
And tips.
Crispy's earned his white belt.
Did Shotokan, man. I was
Well
All
done,
right.
Crispy.
all
Getting
right.
beaten up.
Settle down.
Good work, man. One lyric I'm keen to hear if there's any backstory. The reason I like this lyric so much is tonally it's a little bit of whiplash from one topic to the other, and the lyric that gives in a really fun way, the lyric that gives me that feeling is that's okay because I got solid plans. 24 beers and 2 free hands. 24 beers and 2 free hands. 24 beers and 2 free hands. The market is inflating. And I know it goes, and I know, and I know that that's the start of a verse.
Drake, eat your heart out. Kanye West, eat your heart out.
But I just had to read.
I can hear myself
That was
soft
such
clipping.
Perfect delivery. That was amazing.
I think the context was, I don't know, I think you guys might have this in Melbourne as well, is it was the like context of like the renter versus landlord situation where like
nobody's a fan of their landlord.
well the argument was like when you're a student especially like there was an expectation that it's tradition to live in shitty situations because it's like hey, like you guys are just gonna party and get fucked up. You should have
don't need
mold on the
heating.
walls
Yeah.
and you should have no insulation. You should. So I was like, okay, like here's all the facts. Like because me and Crispy lived in a flat in Newtown in Wellington. We moved there and it was like mushrooms on the wall, like syringes under the couch we moved. Like these.
It was genuinely when we moved into that flat and the landlord. So me and my partner arrived to like help make everything happen. Or when we were about to move in and check the place, they asked if we could help move some furniture out and shit because we're like, oh, we don't want that Scotty couch. And so me and the landlord of the property lifted up this couch to move it out. And underneath it was like 2 empty syringes and a dead spider. Was like literally
Junkie spider.
that was the like state of the house that we were moving into. It was just absolutely cooked. And the property, like the street address of the song, the street address is the name of the song that you were quoting.
So the
like,
point was
it's
like
absolutely cooked.
the stereotypes of landlords is like essentially like utilizing slums for profit, and the stereotypes of students is 24 beers, 2 free, like getting drunk.
Yeah.
And essentially that's that, and like that is what as a student is what you do. You like everything this sucks. Like I'm getting black lung. I'm living in this like all my shoes, all my coats, like getting mold on them just from sitting in the room. Like nothing, no windows open, no like nothing I'm intentionally doing. And then, but their counter argument as well is, well, they're gonna party and do blah blah blah, and like as if that is an excuse to not give someone a good living situation.
Yeah.
So 40 River Street is that was that song is meant to be like, these are the things that I dealt with. Like it is that like is like, well, the market's inflated. Yeah. Like this is the best you can do. is $900 a week to live in this shithole because there's no other properties available because they've inflated the market.
Totally.
And then if a landlord was like, well, as students, they're just gonna drink beers and so like I wanted that song to be like, hit the verses are here the facts that we have to deal with, like black lung, mold on the ceiling, mold on the floor, fucking things collapsing, blah blah blah. Yeah. And the chorus is, you know what? If that's what we have to do collectively, let's just chant. Yeah, let's get drunk.
It was all like, I'm pretty sure every single line of that song is something that was very true for either our own flat or some nearby neighbors. Yeah. Like, our house literally had an earthquake warning of like, you know,
on the door,
you know, orange light occupation kind of thing of like, yeah, you probably shouldn't live here kind of thing.
Because like, that's what happens in Wellington because of the earthquake stuff. And so we're paying $900 to live in a essentially like kind of like flirtily condemned building.
More to the point, people, I think the point is that kids and students, they just accept that is the status quo, and that like, to move into the city, I gotta live in this shitty flat. It's cool, and they're gonna romanticize it, and you might have some fun, and you're gonna chill out, and you're gonna live in these crap holes and whatever, and we've all done it.
But should
like you probably shouldn't have to inhale black mold. I feel like that's pretty like
shouldn't be. It should be off.
But the best thing that ever came from that song is we released that as a single, and we moved out, and then that flat had such a notoriety. Because we named it, the song's called 40 Redford Street, which is the exact address of that place. And so a lot of people message us and be like, hey, is what you say in the song true? I'm like, yep. So I like the idea that we fucked that dude.
Prospective people that are like looking to move in there.
Car
like,
dealership.
If you Google the address to like check it out when the fucking landlord's trying to lease it, the first thing that comes up is going to be the song. And fuck that guy. Like, honestly, absolute dog shit, secondhand Peugeot retail kind of person.
European car dealership owning motherfucker.
Absolute scum. Oh, it wasn't even. It was like it was just absolute slumlord. Lent
he replaced an oven that had 4 broken like heat things on it with like one that had like 2 working.
There were so many fucked things.
But yeah, that's the point. Like, I love that. That's what I like. If you can take away that those lyrics are jarring, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
because that's what it's meant to be. Like, these are the cold hard facts of what people that pay $900 a week have to deal with, and I'm sure that's the case over here in Melbourne as well.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
And so we're gonna party and get ruckus and blah blah blah. That's what you expect of us. Fuck it, we'll do that.
Yeah, 100%. Another question just about some Kiwi, and I lived in Hawke's Bay, then Wellington for a bunch of time. And what you often see in terms, and I won't name any bands, you guys are welcome to, but the bands that go huge are dub or like slightly reggae. Has it been weird not being that, has it been strange that the other big bands, because I consider you guys quite successful, is it strange that they're such a different genre? Is there heaps of crossover and you actually play with them and you get along with them?
We were having this yarn earlier, and we have this yarn pretty frequently about the barbecue reggae scene, and it's its own thing, but it's the New Zealand music industry that has tapped into the fact that's
where the money is.
That's where the money is within New Zealand.
Yeah.
So those bands don't internationally, like but within New Zealand, those bands are 3 billion times bigger than our band will ever be in New Zealand. But internationally, it doesn't really grip or turn at all, because it's New Zealand that froths the fucking barbecue reggae scene, and that's fine. It's the vibe of the coast and everything, which is self-reflective, and that makes sense.
It's very easy to hate on those barbecue reggae things, but also, like, speaking from my experience, like, I grew up in a small town that's quite Māori centric. Like, you grew up with like the guitar kind of ringa chick kind of thing, and like it just appeases real well to that crowd, and it is like just a simple digestible, like I would never say like Six60 or like LAB is not that far removed from Ed Sheeran or like it's just digestible New Zealand specific pop, and I think it's easy to hate, but it's like people enjoy that kind of music. They enjoy that kind of music. I'm not gonna.
It's well loved. It's well loved, and I mean, I came from the coast. Cora was the big dub band.
And Cora, I'm not saying the Cora way levels above than Six60 in my opinion.
What, above or below?
Above.
Above.
Yeah, Cora
above
fucking fantastic.
musicianship. But I can't remember what I was gonna say. I had a really cool thought. It's such a cool thought.
Yeah, we don't hate them. Like it's
Super
not.
cool
Yeah,
thought.
it's.
I was gonna say how dub and reggae in New Zealand was influenced mostly by Bob Marley and the Māori people, as most indigenous people in a country find relative things to adopt from Bob Marley on the fact that their land was emancipated and they were colonized and they were all these different things. So I think it is also important to recognize that a lot of that culture comes from the Māori people and Pacific Islander people and all these, obviously everyone else wanting to feel that sort of vibe. And when the Whalers came to New Zealand, it was bloody awesome. I tell you what, I've got that on DVD.
For a moment, you said I had a really cool thought, and I just want to confirm it was.
Oh, sweet! I remembered it.
But also, like 660 and LB, like anyone can pick up a guitar and play those songs, and I think that's what resonates with those bands so much. And like, it's not a bad thing. Like people come out to those gigs, they love it. Like, and it is so rooted in a lot of Māori Pacific Islander culture, and I think that's cool that you can kind of reclaim that.
Yeah,
it's super self-reflective of the majority of the nation, I suppose. And so as musicians that look internationally and draw our experience from other bands that we like across the globe, like if we relate ourselves, if we were to choose, the 8 closest bands that sound like us in New Zealand and then the 8 closest bands that sound like us internationally, the New Zealand bands would be nowhere near us as the international ones are. But so that's like kind of the reflection of like within New Zealand, that's the vibe, people love that shit and it's fine. It's cool.
Yeah.
And they sell out the stadiums and it's a great time for so many people and people spend,
You never want to be that kind of band or person
Crispy hates reggae.
that gatekeeps things either. You don't want to be like, hey, we're punk rock, we're better than you. Darts is for the people. At the end of the day.
Definitely not more complicated music.
Yeah.
I'm getting sabotaged. Fucking.
That's
not the
Darts
thing
is
at all.
the barbecue reggae of punk music, really.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you a bunch of people on Twitter, New Zealand Twitter, would agree with that.
Yeah.
A bunch of hardcore kids in Wellington would agree with that.
We'll take.
We are the 660 of punk music. Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like,
2 hours ahead right now. It's past my bedtime.
yeah. As you grow older, like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, if music makes someone happy and they're happy and they relate to those lyrics and they're going to those gigs and having a good time, that's cool. Like, when people come to DARTZ gigs and we see such a weird, diverse group of people. Like, it's so cool. Like,
and for younger people, finding genre, they just don't really care about it. Like,
Well, that's the thing. It's just because, like, you can't fucking tell anyone what genre you are now. Like, that's insane.
It's
if someone asks you
yeah.
what kind of music you like, what do you say? If someone asks you what kind of music you play, what the fuck do you say?
we were hanging out with some guys today at the bar we're at, and the guy was like explaining like Australian rock, and I was like, that just sounds like DARTZ. I was like, it's so silly to like kind of pigeonhole yourself. And I think with the whole genre exclusivity thing, like I think the thing that we have is such a young audience, and I think they just want to come out and have fun.
Yep.
They don't want to be like spoken down to. They just want to yell things back at you, dance. Like we played Wellington, and with these kids with like custom made shirts. They want things signed, and like you feel so silly.
I love that.
Being like that band.
so sweet though.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, of course, they just want to. They don't want people to like talk. They want that serious. They just want to have fun.
Has anyone ever asked you guys to sign a scarf?
That sounds like the hardest thing. Is it a woolen scarf, like with a vivid?
Yeah, like fucking Collingwood scarf or something. Like a.
I don't think we have. Nah.
Oh shit.
Someone asked you to sign a scarf, Crispy?
No, but it was part of the song, man. I thought that would be brilliant. Like if AFL scarf get that signed, that'd be sick.
Oh, for that Eddie Maguire song, I think that because he has a breakfast radio show here, and one of his co-hosts played like 20 seconds of it, and he was
Only 20 seconds.
Yeah, because it's a weird song for him to hear because it says Eddie Maguire, I am in love with you.
We're familiar.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
familiar.
So for him, it's probably like he's like, okay, that's enough of that. But no, haven't been asked to sign a scarf. In terms of, we're nearly done. By the way, guys, you've done amazing.
Oh, this has been a great
It's been
chat.
so
I feel
good.
like we've kind of taken over.
We love talking.
Absolutely taking it. If you want to talk for the last half hour,
I
you
had
go
one
for it.
question. It's less music related and more like artistic outlet related. Like, I'm sure all you guys, you're playing music together. Are there other things that you like to do that are creative that make you feel good when you've done them that have nothing to do with this project, like this band?
Well, Dan does the creative. Has
I
the
think-
absolute
well,
creative outlet.
Everyone has their things outside the band. Like I am an illustrator, artist, kind of political cartoonist over in New Zealand. Rollies has just finished doing this goddamn beautiful, cool beats for this queer.
Hell yeah. Shout out Arafata.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Doing
And-
some music production. All my other avenues are pretty much music.
Yeah.
Creative wise,
It can be
You're
music. just
freelance
other
music,
than-
man.
yeah.
Clark
He'll-
also does all the little beats. Like he'll find
I
something
have
dumb.
nothing, man.
He's a meme.
I'm
He's a
all
meme
in
king.
on
He,
this,
he'll
man.
he'll. He made like a. What was the?
Any
Yeah.
gossip is not getting leaked
Yeah.
on this.
It's
Shit.
yeah. It's. I think everyone has their creative outlets, but like
Yeah.
Some of them are really secret.
they all kind of come together towards in darts as well. Like it all kind
Yeah.
of ties in, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah, we definitely all put our best foot forward towards this project, which is part of what's cool about it. Is like we've all got things on the side that we're great at, and we channel that towards this. Like
Yeah.
we got day jobs, we do other things, freelance work, and blah blah blah. But then Dan does 6 posters for our shows. Like we put in a whole lot of effort to making sure that people come.
Yep.
We do the advertising. Blah 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 blah.
We
We're-
like cooking and eating as well. Also, big hobbies. Love to cook, but we all love to eat.
I'd also say we're big.
We do like to cook.
We're a big schemes band, which I think is a big group effort as well. Like, I don't know, this is gonna go nowhere over the shoulders of or over the heads of Australia, but in New Zealand we have a thing called Crate Day,
Yep.
which is like you buy a crate of
is there
beer
a crate
on the
day
first.
I only know it because I'm from New Zealand, but I don't think it
Yeah.
exists here. So
I think-
maybe explain.
Chris,
what
do you
it
want to
is.
get the pitch of Crate Day?
Well, an even better, an even easier thing to do is like we literally bought a shitty car because we had a song called Toyota Corolla that we put out. So we bought a Toyota Corolla.
I
like,
didn't know it happened in that order. I really.
well,
I really
so
would've
it was one of the shows that we played at our first ever gig. Oh, did we play it or did we not play it?
Corolla was not written for. a
We
few months,
didn't play it at the first gig, but it was one of the early concepts of a song. We adapted it, we figured it out, and we played it, and we called the song Toyota Corolla.
About sweating in a Corolla.
And then, yeah, a year and a half later, when we put the song out, we were like, all right, well, what could we do for the song? Let's fucking buy the car. So we went on to Trade Me, which is the very New Zealand specific eBay, Gumtree, whatever kind of thing. And we bought the old schoolest shitty.
No, Gumtree exists here. Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking know Aussie, mate.
1984 Toyota Corolla.
It does sound like something you'd make. up.
Anyway,
I was on the baobab tree the other day.
I was on the fucking.
Is that a koala kind of thing?
Hold up, it's my koala phone's calling me. No.
Anyway, we bought a
Yeah,
car.
so we like, yeah, but that's the like level of just dumb shit that we go
Yeah.
to where we're like,
Yeah.
we had a song called Toyota Corolla, so let's buy a Toyota Corolla. We bought a car,
amazing.
and we
We
painted
got
flames on it and
funding
stuff.
from New Zealand Air, which is like the government. I don't know if you guys have an equivalent here.
Every state
It's-
has their own
yes.
version.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so we got,
I've been putting my research.
but we
in.
got funded for a song, and we were the first ever band that had to get a lawyer to look over our music video because we had this like an evangelical kind of rip-off kind of
Yeah.
tithing priest in New Zealand called Brian Tamaki. I'm sure you're familiar with him.
Yeah, my man.
And essentially the lawyers, because we got funding for the video, and they didn't want to get in trouble from
I see.
or get sued or anything. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
had to get lawyers to comb through this video, and we had to remove some specific content. And it's like those kind of stories, like where we're the
only
first.
the
guys-
things that were completely untrue.
Yeah.
Like, anything that was substantial, we could leave in, but anything that was completely untrue, we had to leave out. So, like, Jesus told me to jerk off his husband or whatever. But
No, it
we had to
was
take that out.
Jesus. Jesus, like Brian would watch Jesus have sex with his wife. Anyway,
Yeah, we had to take that. We had to take that.
yeah.
out. We had
But like it was those kind of stories of like we're the first band that New Zealand Air had to hire a lawyer to look over the music video.
Yeah.
Like those kind of things. Like that's very like us. Like we were also given like let's do this. Like
They made us take out because we had a book. We had his book in the music
audio
video.
biography.
And so Dan, I think, just drew, like, rotoscoped over top of it, this pretty much the same thing, just so it's not like, yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Do you guys still
Pork
have
pie moment.
those scenes that had to get chopped? Do you have them on a hidden hard drive?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
good.
so the main.
I edited the video.
The main thing is this ticker tape that runs at the bottom that just has some really
bad
just
facts. Well,
outlandish.
they were genuine, like I quotes from news
They're being
articles,
pretty mean.
and then I made up some things,
Yeah.
which I could not conclude.
But getting
'cause I
this
made them up.
email in the middle of day, you're at work, and it's like, do you remember how it read exactly? Like it's from lawyers.
very serious
They're being
lawyer
paid
being like,
to do this.
Can
And
you
it's
please take out the quote? I would
Please.
let Jesus fuck my wife, and I would watch.
Yes, we can.
And you're
But
just
only because you asked so
It would
nicely,
have
and
been
it's
the highlight
really
of that lawyer's
funny.
week, though. I imagine
Hell
everything else
yeah.
he was dealing
Oh,
with
yeah.
was very boring.
Yeah, and but that's kind of thing like this. You've been granted $10,000. I think it was one of the first videos we ever got funded.
Yeah,
And
it,
you're
it
like-
was the first.
Yeah,
it was the
and
first.
then you're like you're dealing with lawyers and like
it was hilarious. It was just
Yeah.
so funny to just wake up to that kind of stuff of just someone reacting to your shit and just being like, I don't give a fuck about whatever you're saying. That's hilarious. And like Brian Tamaki's wife, this is so irrelevant for an Australian audience, but Brian Tamaki's wife like reacted to the YouTube like when it was posted
Taxpayer money.
after NZ on air and after the lawyers said okay we can post it and we posted it. Like his whole following backlashed onto it and tried to talk shit on the YouTube comments, of which we have like 0 followers, and so it
They would
was
have
like
loaded up the engagement. on the
exactly.
video.
It was like bang, 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 bang. Let's go.
She fell for it hard.
Nice.
shared it on her Twitter.
It was it was so funny. It was like
when the death threats coming in, and we're like,
Yeah.
yep, that's good.
If you ever come to Gisborne, you better watch out.
Wow.
But yeah, it's those
effort.
kind of things. I think that's what it's always like. I think there's been times we've like sat together drinking and like Clark's been like, I've got this idea, and we'll be like, I don't know if that's silly enough. And it's like a weird like board meeting of like schemes and goofs.
the bar for something being acceptably stupid
love
is
it.
Yeah.
kind of it's pretty
Like
high.
we try to top things. Like we try to play. So for crate day, it was essentially everyone buys a crate of beer on the first
Saturday
weekend-
of summer.
Saturday of summer, and then everyone just gets drunk. And when we first started the band, the biggest scheme we did after this chat thing was we tried to play every crate day in Wellington, and we played 14.
Yeah, 14 parties
solid
and
effort.
Yeah.
14 parties in 12 hours.
And our follow up was we tried to play a bunch of different cities in the same day. And
We played
That's quite a bit.
we played 4 cities in one day.
Which for?
And we had released our album when we woke up in Christchurch.
Yep.
So we played a house party in Christchurch, and then is this true?
Yeah, we went.
Yeah, and then we
Christchurch
flew
Wellington.
to Wellington, and we played a house party in Wellington, and then we flew to Auckland, and we played a house party in Auckland, and then from there we had our Toyota Corolla, ka-ching, parked up there, and we drove that down to Hamilton.
then Rolly's out of MJ.
I don't know if this was a drug admission podcast, but yeah, sure, those guys did MDMA, and we drove
Uses
there,
evidence against us.
drove. Clark and I very generously drove these high motherfuckers 2 hours down the road to Hamilton.
We're very tired in our defense.
Oh, you were tired.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, anyway, we drove down to Hamilton. So yeah, Christchurch, Wellington, Auckland, Hamilton.
Yeah.
Great relations with Last Place Bar in Hamilton.
Cool.
And anyone from Melbourne that loves Last Chance Bar in Melbourne will fucking froth Last Place Bar in Hamilton. Fantastic spot.
Yeah.
Very good vibes. Similar kind of kitchen. Very, very good kitchen vibes.
Cool.
And they're just very wholesome people. Do it. Go there.
Amazing.
Yeah, if anyone in Australia is ever going to go to New Zealand again to tour, which is becoming less and less likely, go to Hamilton because
Straight to last place.
yeah, it's just got the vibe going.
You get
you know.
fed. You don't have to pay too much to hire the venue. You're gonna get the best hospitality you ever have.
The
Book yourself a 2 nights at the Ramadan Hotel.
nice.
See someone get stabbed in the alleyway next to last place.
Yeah.
And then run back to your friends, very scared.
I had my 30th there.
Yeah, it'll be great.
I have had the best time hanging out with you guys. You guys are legends. I feel like you're in the middle of
A
maybe
crisis?
this- I feel like you're in the middle of a crisis. Imagine if that's how I ended. Yeah, in the middle of probably what will be like the fondest memories ever. And I wish you all the best. There's going to be huge things ahead of you. I'm stoked for you. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for coming around to my
Thank you
house.
for having us,
Thank you
man.
very much.
Really, thank you for
It's
having
been
us.
really fun.
Kia ora.
Fantastic host.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Generally, though, thank you for having us. That was
That was great.
great, yeah.